Welcome. Today, we are going to dive into one of the most fundamental concepts in Python, functions. We're going to see how you can stop writing the same lines of code again and again and start building flexible, powerful tools that make your programs so much cleaner.
So let me ask you something. Does this sound familiar? You're deep into coding, and you find yourself just copying and pasting the same few lines of code over and over again. It works, sure, but you get that feeling, right? That nagging sense that it's messy and there has to be a better way. Well, you're right. There is a much, much better way. The solution is using functions. They are, without a doubt, the key to unlocking organized, efficient, and reusable code. So what exactly is a function? Well, think of it like a named package of code that's designed to do one specific job. The real magic here is that this block of code just sits there, patiently waiting. It does absolutely nothing until you specifically call it by name. Let's look at a super simple example. On the left, we use the keyword def to define or create a function we're calling greet. Inside of it, we've got 3 simple print commands. Now, if we only had that def block, nothing would happen. It's that very last line, greet calling, that actually makes the call and tells Python, hey, run that code now, and that's what gives us our output. Okay, that's a good start, but our greet function is pretty rigid, right? It does the exact same thing every single time. To make our functions truly powerful, we need a way to pass information into them. And this brings us to 2 absolutely crucial ideas, parameters and arguments. You know, the difference between these 2 can trip people up at first, so let's use a really easy analogy. Just imagine a parking spot. The label painted on the ground, maybe it says reserved, is the parameter. It's just a placeholder. The actual car that pulls into that spot, that's the argument. It's the real deal. So let's translate that back to code. A parameter is that placeholder variable you list inside the parentheses when you first define a function. Think of it as the empty parking spot. The argument is the actual concrete value, the car, that you send to the function when you call it. So looking at the code itself, when we write def test name, that word name that's sitting inside the parentheses, that's our parameter. It's the label on our parking spot, just waiting for a value to show up. And here's the other half of that equation. When we actually call the function, like test ChiruCodes, that text, ChiruCodes, is the argument. This is the real piece of data we're sending. This is the car we're parking in that spot. And here you can see it all come together beautifully. We call our test function and pass in the argument ChiruCodes. Inside the function, Python takes that value and assigns it to the name parameter. And just like that, our greeting isn't static anymore, it's dynamic. It produces this totally personalized output. This is awesome for one piece of information, but what if your function needs more? What if it needs 2 or 3 or 10 inputs? How does Python know which argument is supposed to go to which parameter? Well, by default, it uses a system that's really simple, but also really strict. This system is called positional arguments, and it works exactly how it sounds. Python matches the arguments to the parameters based purely on their position, on their order. So the first argument, Chirana, gets matched to the first parameter, name, and the second argument, 20, gets matched to the second parameter, age. It's a simple one-to-one mapping based on the lineup. So as you can probably guess, this means the order is absolutely critical. Our source material puts it perfectly. If you were to swap them and call the function as new 20 Chirana, Python wouldn't complain. It would happily assign 20 to name and Chirana to age. The code runs, but the output is my name is 20, which is complete nonsense. So with positional arguments, position is everything. All right, we've covered some really foundational stuff here for making your Python code way more dynamic. Let's just do a quick recap of the main things you need to remember. First, functions are your #1 tool for writing clean, reusable code. Seriously. Second, burn this into your memory. The parameter is the placeholder when you define the function, and the argument is the actual value you send when you call it. And finally, when you're using positional arguments, the order you pass them in is not just important, it's crucial. So you've now got a really solid handle on how to send information into a function to make it do cool, dynamic things. But that kind of raises another question, doesn't it? How do you get results or calculations or any new data back out of a function? Well, that's a story for another time. Thanks for joining me.